Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hope you're all having a fantastic Wednesday. Halfway through the week. Hope it's been a fantastic week for you thus far. I'm super excited today for our happy hour session to be joined by the one and only Miss Letty Rodriguez. She, if you don't follow her already, she's a phenomenal woman. She's a little sprite of a lady, but she is definitely a force to be reckoned with, and I'm super excited to have her join me. I've been able to work with her quite a few times over the years and watched her grow and hone her skills, and just really thrilled to have her as a friend and to have her join us and share her story. I do see that she's joined, so I'm going to go ahead and add her. Hopefully we won't have too many technical difficulties. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining in. Happy day. There she is.
Hi.
Yay. Hello, lovely. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? Sorry,
I am fantastic. I'm going to turn
for a minute.
I got to turn my volume up. Oops. This is not working very well. All right. There we go. Hi, you look fantastic as always.
Thank you. I decided to do a little something different with my hair, so purple it is.
Hey, you know, I'm a fan, as you know, of the purple.
Yeah.
So I love it. It is so good to see your face. It has been such a long time. Oh my God.
Yes, it has, for sure.
Craziness. So thank you for joining me. And
of course.
I was just telling, oh, please, of course, you're like a phenomenal woman. I was just telling everybody all about you, or at least a little bit about you, a little teaser about all the amazing stuff that you do. So I want to talk about your jewelry. I want to talk about your welding, your career, kind of how you got started. I want to talk about all of the good stuff. Okay. But let's start with just a quick little introduction. Tell everybody who may not already follow you. And if you don't already follow her, you should follow her. What is it that you do, my dear?
All right. Well, I am Letty Rodriguez. I am a welder. I've been welding for about almost 6 years. I started in 2014. I was a fresh high school graduate when I decided to go into trade school. And just last year, I decided to dabble with silversmithing. So it's been about a year since I've been doing that now. So, yeah.
It is so awesome. For anybody who doesn't know Letty, literally anything that I have seen this woman set her mind to, she's able to accomplish. Like it is no joke. She was doing trailer building, like camper trailers. She's done work on cars. She's like, I'm going to do jewelry. And now she makes like the most amazing jewelry. Just incredibly talented. So right now, where are you working?
I work at Gorbel. It's a company in Goodyear. We build overhead workstation cranes and jibs. So for like warehouses, automotive shops, we have a little shop crane set up to hoist engines out and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I've seen some of your pictures from that, from your old Instagram account, and like you do some like really massive scale.
Yeah, it's
stuff.
Heavy gauge steel, like 1/2 inch to inch thick steel. So it's pretty.
And it's big.
Big stuff. Yeah, like 300, 400 feet. Yeah, it's huge.
So, because I have to ask this, even though like we hate the common question that guys ask us all the time is like, how do you deal with the heavy stuff? But for folks that don't don't know, and you are obviously super successful at your career. You manage despite your size. You guys can't tell because she's sitting down, but she's little.
I am small. I'm 5'1".
I've got a whole inch on you, so I really can't like say much. But how does that, or does it affect your work?
Not at all. I mean, thank God for cranes, right? That's how a lot of us maneuver our materials to build things. But my size has not been an issue at all with my work. And I think because of that, others see like, oh, wow, she's tiny. But I mean, I still get my work done.
Yeah.
Just as, someone that might be 6'3", there's no issue at all.
Good. Yeah. I figured as much. I knew
Yeah.
that. I just wanted to hear you say it.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Like, don't you hear that all the time? Like,
Oh,
I hear,
yeah.
like, how do you deal with the heavy stuff? I'm like, the same way everybody else does.
I roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing. The guys aren't lifting that stuff either by themselves.
No, absolutely not. And then like what might work for somebody else to do something, like I have to figure out a way that would be safe for me because I am smaller than most people in the industry. You just have to figure out how to do it your way.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. So now how did you get into that? How did you
Into
get into that?
welding. Yeah. Well, to take it back a few.
Yeah, let's rewind. Go back in time.
I grew up around the car scene my entire life. My parents, they started a lowrider car club. Yeah.
Nice.
So my
Representing.
tank, yes. Yeah, they started a lowrider car club in the early 90s. So I literally went to car shows every weekend for most of my life. So I knew when I was in high school, like I wanted to do something around that. But you know, high school, they pressure you into go to college and university, and you know, not everyone wants to do that, and that's perfectly okay. I was thinking about what I was going to say today. I actually went to a community college to apply, but just the process of that alone, I'm like, I do not want to go to college at all. And I had an interest in welding. Actually, my great-great-grandmother was a truck driver in the early 1930s. My grandmother, she's a forklift operator. She was working for Revlon back in the 70s. I think she was like the second woman to drive a forklift. And then, you know, a lot of the men in my family were carpenters or built their own motorcycles and cars. So I think having that in my family, it was meant to happen that I became a welder. So
it's in your blood.
Yeah, it is. And I didn't really pay attention to that growing up, but you know, after the fact, I was like, oh man, this totally makes sense how I ended up in what I'm doing now. But yeah, I graduated high school in 2014, and I enrolled myself into a trade school, and then I graduated 11 months later, and I've been doing it since then.
Do you feel like trade school was worth it versus going straight into the field? Like I hear that question a lot. Like, should I go to school? Should I just get a job? What's your take on that?
So I always get people to ask me like, where do you start for those interested? And I always suggest shadow somebody if you know someone in the industry, because for an example, one of my coworkers, he started out as a shipper. And his father is a welder, so he would, practice with his dad on his brakes, and our company hired him on as a welder. So he has no schooling, but now he's a welder. So there's an example. But once you do shadow someone and you do love and you are interested in doing that, then I would suggest going to school. I mean, there's a lot of trade schools through the valley now. When I went to trade school, there was maybe one or two, if that. So then I would invest going to school. I mean, everyone teaches you the basics. Yeah. You just got to find a job, I guess, after that.
But you feel like it was worth it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How long of a program was the one that you did?
Arizona Automotive Institute was 11 months.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I know some trade schools are a year, some are 2 years, but I feel like that's more automotive mechanic. I don't know.
I don't
welding.
I don't know. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. My cat has joined in on the conversation since people do that.
Hello.
At some point he's going to try to knock the phone off with the tripod.
I know. Cooper, my basset hound, is running back and forth, so he might make an appearance too.
Your dog is the cutest. Oh my God. So now when you were done with trade school, you started working in more automotive side of welding versus where you're at now.
Yeah. So my first shop job was at Retro RVs, and we restored vintage camper trailers and Airstreams. Unfortunately, I wasn't doing a whole ton of welding then, but it was mostly aluminum fabrication. Nice. Yeah, I was riveting the panels on the Airstreams. I learned some carpentry, some electrical there. What else did I do? Plumbing, which props to you plumbers out there. I couldn't do that. No. No. But
And that's the
yeah.
thing with trailers, you have to do like everything. Like the mobile homes, like
Yeah.
it's not just the welding or the mechanical, it's a house on wheels.
It's a mini house. Oh yeah. And with the, what do they call it? The small house craze right now, the minimalist stuff. Yeah, those are super popular when I was.
Would you ever do that? Go live in a tiny house?
Oh no. Well, maybe a tiny house and then a big ass garage. I could do that. For sure.
Yes. Cheers to that. Yes, I need 2 trailers, one to live in and one to have my garage.
Yes,
my workshop. That's awesome. I've been craving it recently. I've been like seeing on Instagram like all the people with like converted school buses and going off and doing the bohemian like I'm like that's fun.
Yeah. I feel like if you're handy and you know tools, you could easily restore your own camper. Just saying, like it's super simple.
I totally want to do it. I want to like sell everything and go live in a converted school bus.
Yeah.
All right. So you're doing campers and then what? Tell me more.
Let me see. And then after that, so while I was in trade school, I was apprenticing at Jason's shop, the Campbells. So I was learning classic car restoration while I was in school. And then I got a full-time job at the camper place. And then I left there because that shop was not a good shop to work for, unfortunately. But it happens. You go through shops. So I started working with the Campbells. And, oh, my God. Like, I'm so happy that I got to do one of my dream jobs when I first got in the industry. So I was restoring classic cars, which I'm super passionate about. I mean, I grew up around them most of my life, so yeah.
So the switch to industrial welding, where did that decision come?
Yeah, so I got laid off at a job and I saw that Rachel had posted her job was hiring. I was like, oh hey girl, I need a job. So
you knew Rachel previously? Did you know her person? Okay.
So we actually went to the same trade school.
Okay.
But we didn't know each other then. Like, I would see her around, but, you're busy in school. You don't really have time to talk to others. And I think she was a class ahead.
Okay.
So that was that. And then years later, she had found me on Instagram. I was like, oh, shit, that's the girl that was at my trade school.
Nice.
So when I saw her post that, I applied and got hired, like, spot on. That company. We'll get into that later, I'm sure. But yeah, we worked together for a few months there. We built stair railings and staircases. So that was more of the industrial structural stuff.
Okay.
I got to learn how to fit there, so I was fitting a lot of the rails at that shop. It was cool work. Like, I enjoyed the work and my coworkers, but management, double.
So then you guys both went to this current place together.
Yeah, so Rachel left. We probably worked together at the shop maybe for 5 months, if that. I can't remember. It's a couple years now. But again, the shop we work at now, they were hiring, so she hit me up. So I went to go apply and, hired spot on. And,
nice.
Yeah, we've been working together over a year now.
That is very cool.
Yeah, the company I'm at now is phenomenal. Like, they are so for, like, our mission, like, supporting other women. We've brought in shadows, students, to see what a real welding shop is like.
Yeah.
So that's super cool of them to allow us to do that.
So for people who don't know, this woman that she speaks of, Rachel, she's actually going to be doing a happy hour with us in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. But she's also a welder. She's under Rated R for Rachel, I think is still her Instagram handle.
She's my work wife.
She is, yes. So let's chat a little bit about that. Like, what do you feel like the benefits are, or what has been your experience of having another woman to work with in your job? Like, a lot of women don't get that opportunity. Like, it's rare for us to meet each other, let alone like work together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can agree with this too. Like, most tradeswomen, we are the only women or woman in our shop. So to work with another lady badass in this industry is amazing. Like, I can't relate to my male coworker about certain things, and with Rachel, she's my sister. You know, it's phenomenal to be able to relate with somebody in that sense. Yeah. So I wish everyone could have a Rachel with them.
I agree, and everybody should have a Letty as well. Yeah, no, I think it makes a huge amount of difference. Of course, my cat has decided now to make a ton of noise. Sorry about that if you guys are hearing that. What was I have no idea. My cat just distracted me. I was going to say something, and now it's gone. Working with Rachel, yeah, working with another woman. And so you have taken in a bunch of apprentices. Tell us about that. Like, what does that look like? How are people finding you? What are you doing?
Yeah, so people are really just reaching out to us, interested in joining
via social media.
Yeah, social media. Thank God for that.
Yeah, seriously, I know.
Connections. Yeah, but people are just messaging us that are going to welding school or they're interested in the trades. And we just asked our supervisors if it would be cool to bring in a student, and they were all for it. Like, that's most companies, like legality issues, most companies won't allow that. So the fact that ours did, we're like, oh my God, okay, yeah, let's go with this. We just request that our shadows to come in there, their school gear, their welding gear, and they can't work with us. They're just shadowing. But yeah, they just watch us work, and we describe our fit up process and welding process. And then when we get on break, we'll get some scrap for them to work with, because we use spray arc, which is a little different than regular hardwire MIG. It's a lot cleaner. Okay. Spray arc is just it's a 98 2 mix, and then I forgot the wire size. I should probably know that. But it's just a very, very clean process. Like, regular MIG is it pops and it's loud, but this, when you get it dialed in nicely, it's like a hiss. Interesting. Okay. It's different, yeah. Okay. But yeah, so we explain that process to them, and they just hang out with us. Nice. How many of these have you done? We've done 3 so far. We were going to have more, but when COVID hit, we weren't allowing anyone to come in the shop. So we're still working on that, getting more people in. Soon. Yeah, soon, I promise. So, jewelry. How did that happen? So, if you followed my other page, you guys will know that I love vintage fashion. I love the pinup look. So my love for vintage fashion and my love for welding, I wanted to, further my skill set, because that's very important in this industry, with your profession. And I wanted to learn how to silversmith. It's just like a very intricate process compared to what I do for a living. I work with heavy gauge steel, so yeah, you go from really, really big to little tiny. Making jewelry is so intricate and tiny. But welding all day, is rough sometimes. So when I get home, it's like my zen. Get to calm down and make some jewelry. I started last year. I actually went. I took some jewelry classes. Okay, I was going to ask if you taught yourself or if you took classes. No, I wish. I took some jewelry classes at KP Studio. They're downtown, if anyone else is interested. Downtown Phoenix, that is. Yes, downtown Phoenix. Sorry. Oh, we're live. The world is watching. So I took the beginner and intermediate classes, and then kind of just did my own thing from there. But it's been a little over a year now since I've been creating. Yeah. Looks like you've got some customers in the audience. Somebody's saying that she loves her ring that you got from you. So yay, Sophie. That's awesome. Nice. So do you find there's overlap in the skill sets, or are they 2 totally different things for you? Of the jewelry and the welding? Oh yeah, they definitely overlap. I did not have to invest in too many tools, because my welding tools, my hammers and stuff, they work with the jewelry. I'm sure there's like special jewelry tools, but I just use my regular welding tools. I mean, the torch, I use the torch at work and at home too. It's just a smaller torch with the jewelry, obviously, because you'll melt your stuff.
Right. So for anybody who's interested, if you don't already follow her, she does a lot of videos, like kind of showing off her jewelry, but also like her process. Like you've done a couple of videos really like showing the detail of how you do it, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, I try to show the process because sometimes when people order things, they're like, all right, it's shipping out tomorrow, right? You're like, no.
Nope.
Like, it takes a couple weeks to make something. So yeah, I think it's very important to show the process. And I think people too like appreciate their item more because it is handmade. Like I make this stuff from scratch.
Yeah. It's pretty phenomenal. I think
Thank you.
I think it's really neat. I love your style of your jewelry that you're doing. I think it's a whole lot of fun.
Thank you.
My brain is going blank. I've had so much caffeine today that I'm like buzzing and it's making all of my thoughts leave my brain like this fast.
I know.
So what else did I want to talk to you about? So, my brain
It'll pop up.
What's that?
I was like, it'll pop up.
It'll pop up. It'll pop up. Oh, somebody had actually commented on the fact that you look like a pinup model. You brought up that you like the pinup style.
Yeah.
You know, I think often as women, like especially women in the trades, we get kind of like pegged into one box and one image.
Yeah.
What we're supposed to look like, what we're supposed to act like, what we're supposed to be.
You don't look like a welder. Yeah, I get that one all the time.
Exactly. So how do you handle all of that? And how do you, because I have a ton of respect for you and I think like in general, but specifically like on this area, I think there's a lot of women, particularly of my generation and older, who kind of struggle with that, like fitting in the automotive industry, being feminine, kind of dealing with the balance of those. And you like seamlessly master this, right? So how have you managed that, and what do you attribute that to?
Yeah. So obviously I keep them separate. Like when I'm at work, I'm a scumbag. Like I'm dirty. Like I don't care about looking good at work. But yeah, as far as like the feminine stuff, I think it's important to show others, like we don't have to, like you said, be in a box. Like you don't look like a welder. Well, we look like all sorts of people, you know? When I got into the whole like pinup scene, I was, Cooper's trying to get a fly, sorry. I was, I think 15 or 16 years old. So my other Instagram, I was super young. My other Instagram was mostly like my pinup modeling stuff. And not too much welding, because some shops they don't allow you to share some of the work that you do. So for a while, my page was only my pinup stuff. So that's what people knew me as, like, oh, this pinup girl, and she welds. Like that was the after fact. So now that I have my jewelry page, like I'm trying to like redefine who I am and what I want to be known for. So like the welding and my artwork as a jeweler, but balancing them too. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
Do you feel you get judged for?
Oh, in that sense, yeah. Like at car shows, obviously I like to dress up at car shows because being in your Carhartts and work boots all week, you know, you lose that. I want to feel like a woman and I want to wear a dress and makeup, you know?
Yeah.
But in that sense, yeah, people do judge me like, oh, you don't have scars or burns on your arms. Like, you don't do that work. Like, why are you lying? So in that sense, it's a little annoying, but I kind of use that to my advantage too, because if someone could see me dressed like this and, you know, they figure out what I do for a living, that might inspire somebody. And we definitely need more women in this industry for sure.
Yes.
A more diverse group of women. So, yeah.
Amen to that. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you ever have this happen to you? This happens to me often where people will walk up to me and without asking first, grab my hands to look at them and
Oh,
inspect them.
yeah. That's why I call this my nose breaker ring. So people don't touch me. I get that all the time. Well, I mean, I have tattoos too, so they want to see the tattoos or
Right.
how rough my hands are, which winter time they get pretty rough, as you know. But
Yeah, absolutely. I
very
always find that funny. I'm like, really? Come
I
on.
know. Or like welding burns. Like PPE is your best friend, please. Like I hate seeing anybody really, showing off their bare skin while they're working. Like it's important to cover. Like you only get, a pair of lungs and a pair of eyes, one set. That's it. Take care
Yes.
of them.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not a fan of the trend to kind of promote non-safe working.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, it's not cute. It's not.
No. No, no, it's not. And I always think too of like I know the younger generation on my other page, I had a lot of like younger women following me. I would never want them to think like, oh, I have to sexualize myself to be known, like no, like that's not how to do it.
Yeah.
Like your work speaks for itself.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to bear down,
Yeah, no, amen to that 100%. We can do the work, we can do it well, we can be
Yeah.
respected, we can still be feminine,
Yeah,
clearly,
absolutely.
right? We can still dress up and have fun and do all of that, but
Yeah.
not necessarily all at the same time.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you don't dress like that to work.
Exactly. I like this comment right here. It says your skills have nothing to do with how you look. Exactly. Absolutely.
100%. Or
Yes.
as somebody I heard wisely say, the tools don't know your gender.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
tools don't know.
I like that.
So you grew up in a family that was really into this whole world, and
Mhm.
you have a heritage of women, which I think is just so amazing. I mean, you had trailblazers in your family, like
Oh
women
yeah.
back in the day who were doing this.
Mhm.
Did you, when you decided to be a welder, was it totally accepted and cool with your family, or how did that roll?
Oh yeah, my parents were so supportive, which I mean I've had a lot of mentors growing up, so when I told everybody like I want to go to school for welding, they're like, "Well, hell yeah, like definitely. We could see you doing that." And growing up I was a huge tomboy, so I think people like didn't think too much of it because I've always liked getting dirty and
Nice.
playing sports growing up. So yeah, my parents they keep commenting, "Hi, mom and dad."
Hi, mom and dad.
They were very, very supportive of me doing this.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And your employment experiences, have they been supportive, or has it been a mixed bag?
Oh, sorry. Say that again. My
Your
dog
your
is.
employers, the jobs that you've worked at, have they been
Oh yeah.
supportive, or has it been kind of a mixed bag? Some good, some not.
It's mixed. I hate to say this, but like it's almost expected in the industry. Someday, hopefully, it won't be. Everyone will be accepting, but yeah, I've worked at some companies. It's like they question because I'm so small. Like, oh well, I don't know if you're strong enough to do this type of work. But then I have other companies like my current one, and then working with the Campbells too. Like they're all for it. Like gender is not a problem at all. It's very accepting. So
Yeah, absolutely. What is your advice to a young woman entering the industry, aside from being an apprentice and going to school? Like, what's dealing with different situations that they might encounter? What's your tools for success?
yeah. Well, first, damn. I know. Oh my God. If I was saying this to myself years ago,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, what's your advice to the younger you?
yeah. Oh my God. Stick up for yourself more. You deserve to be in this industry. Trust your skill set. Learn all that you can. and pass it on. I feel like, I mean, what I've learned is because of what people have taught me, and now that Rachel and I are taking on shadows, it's like now our knowledge and skill set is being passed down. So I think it's very important to do that as well.
I love that so much. I think that's so important. And I love your like very concise, very simple rules for success. But I think it is so important. I think we encounter a lot in the industry where people don't want to share their skill set.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's unfortunate. Like, how are you going to pass down your legacy? Like, how are you going to be known if you don't pass down what you know, you know? I mean, I'm sure people will learn a different way, but yeah, I don't get why people are so secretive about their skills in any industry, really.
No. And the other thing that I have like a huge gripe with right now is like the people who are not only not wanting to share their experience, but actually like make fun of newbies. Like make fun of people entering the industry and mock them and like.
Yeah, my biggest thing, it's like we were all rookies once. Like, you didn't know shit once upon a time. Like, it's, you know, we've got to obtain these skills one way or another, and I get it. Not everyone has the time to take on an apprentice. Like, I've learned that in this industry too, and you'll just have to find the right shop to take you on, and that will be willing to teach you those skills.
Yeah, they are out there, guys. If you're at a shop that is not so great, know that there are good ones out there, whether it's welding, whether it's mechanical, whether it's body work, whatever it is. Like, there are good shops out there, and you just got to find the ones that are willing, and you know.
Yeah, just keep looking. I mean, each shop that you do work at, you're gonna learn something, either good or bad, but you are gonna pick up something from each shop.
Yeah, and sometimes if you're open to it, you wind up learning like from the worst situations too, right? Like even if they're horrible, you can learn some of your most valuable lessons from the from the worst places.
Yeah, the shop from previous that I learned how to fit rail. Yeah, I learned a lot about sexual harassment laws with that one. Yeah.
That's not a thing that we want to learn about.
No, but I mean, now I know if I'm ever in that situation again that I know what to do.
So are you open to talking about that a little bit?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it came up in, I think it was last week's happy hour actually, about that a little bit. And
sexual harassment
and you know the quandary of like to speak up or not speak up, right? Do you say something? Do you just quit and leave? How do you handle it? And like the fear I think that a lot of ladies have of getting blacklisted and like, oh, if I say something, then no other shop's gonna ever want to hire me again because they're gonna think I'm a troublemaker or whatever the case is. What are your thoughts on that, and how was that experience for you? I mean, aside from being awful, being sexually harassed, but
choose your battles. I mean, not every encounter of sexual harassment I think is, some are worth fighting for, some are not. I guess it just depends what the situation is, but I'll kind of explain what mine was. Because I was fitting at this job, I was using the forklift more, and these forklifts were like huge industrial forklifts, and I'm little old me, you know. I was bent over trying to move the forks apart, and my supervisor was behind me watching me struggle. And they did not maintenance anything at this company. Like, everything was old and nothing was oiled. So I was struggling moving these forks apart. And he then told me that I needed to put more ass on my body because I was struggling. And at that point, like, I didn't know what to say. Like, I was uncomfortable, and I've never been in that sort of situation. So I just, like, uncomfortably laughed at him, and it bothered me for sure because now I knew he was looking at me in that way. So there was another girl that worked at the shop, and she had reported something that a coworker had said something to her. So the office guy talked to us about sexual harassment, and
talk to you, to the ladies, or to everybody?
To us, the ladies only.
Interesting.
Which is interesting. So he told us, like, if there's anything like you're uncomfortable with, like, feel free to talk to us. We want you guys to be safe. So I was like, okay, well, this is a perfect opportunity to tell on my supervisor. So I did. And obviously they had to talk to him about it. And after that, I was treated so unfairly. Like, I was taken off the fitting table, and he had me like grinding the post for the rail for like 2 weeks straight. So
Wow.
yeah, I was getting treated really unfairly. And you know, he told everyone that I was going to sue the company because of the sexual harassment thing. So nobody was talking to me at this job.
Oh, lovely.
Rachel was gone by then. Maybe like 2 coworkers would like say hello here and there, but yeah, so that was going on for maybe a month or 2. Sorry. Sorry, Cooper's barking.
That's okay. It's hard to control that.
I know. Where was I going with this?
So their retaliation against you, which is awful.
So getting treated unfairly. So my coworker, he was like the shop lead or something like that. We decided to get some people together to write letters to the owner. People who have quit dealing with the supervisor and people who still work there. And we wrote letters to the owner explaining our situations, and nothing became of it. It was swept under the rug. Yes. 1 second. Cooper, come here.
I love the comment from Sophie that even Cooper thinks it's wrong.
He's mad. Yeah, so nothing happened. Like the owner. Go. Cooper. Yeah, the owner did nothing. So I just waited it out. I didn't entirely know what to do at that point. It was like stressful situation. I felt uncomfortable and just how he was treating me.
Understandably.
Yeah.
And I think that's the fear, right? I mean, the fear is that we're going to be retaliated against when we speak up. But I think it's, I want to give you props for doing it, and for not just saying the one thing, but then taking to the next level. And I think
the letters.
I feel like that tells you everything you need to know, right? Like if you just keep quiet about it, you have to hold on to it, and
it's going to eat you alive.
It does, yes. And then if you say something, either it gets fixed or it doesn't. And if it doesn't get fixed, then you don't want to be there. So go.
Yeah. So I waited it out. Like I wanted to leave on my terms.
Yes.
With this supervisor, you know, a lot of people got tired of it and they quit. And he won. And I wasn't gonna let that happen. So I just waited out. And then Rachel had reached out to me that our current company was hiring. So that's when I up and quit. I was like, I have a better position now. So I just left. That was that horror story.
the fear that people have is that it's going to stay with them, right? If I complained at one shop, it's gonna stay with me, and it's gonna make it hard for me to be hired. So true, not true.
Sometimes a different situation. One of my friends, his company had hired a lady, and she complained about every little thing. Oh, this guy was looking at me wrong, like every little thing. And I think they let her go. But now that company won't hire any more women because of that situation. So I don't know. I guess it just depends on the situation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting. And it kind of touches on, like, and you and I have talked about this in the past, like whether it's right or wrong, because we're a minority, we kind of represent all women in the industry. Yeah. And so there is this like pressure of if I'm the first woman that's worked at a place, their perception of women in the industry is going to be based on me and how I behave, and I'm going to be the one determining whether or not they hire more women in the future, which is an interesting thing. So there's like a kind of a sense of responsibility there, I feel, at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The previous company, the bad one, he only wanted to hire women because we were, women make better welders, and the rail, it was like an intricate process, so we had to grind down the sides and he thought women did that better. So in that sense, but I think he was just trying to hire women to be a creep, but I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Gosh. But it didn't, but as far as, so that was like a shop that judged future hires based on that other woman experience.
Yeah.
But do you feel like it's hurt you in your future endeavors to have at some point in your past complained about sexual harassment?
I don't think so. Not at all. I needed to do that for myself, you know. It hasn't followed me. The company that I work for now, I kind of told them about my situation in my interview, which I probably should have done that right off the bat. Like, why do you want to leave this job? Like sexual harassment. But yeah, they were totally against what that supervisor had did to me, and not only me, but also Rachel and our other female coworker. He was just, you know, an asshole to everybody.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it has followed me in that sense.
That's good. I mean, and I think that's reassuring for people to hear, right? Because that's the fear.
Yeah.
I'm going to get branded. I'm going to get not hired in the future, but any shop that's not going to hire you because of that is going to be another shop that is going to potentially have the same issues. Right?
Yeah, then that's not a right shop to work for.
Exactly.
Like, oh, you have a sexual harassment issue. Like,
right.
Well, then, yeah, not a good shop to work for.
Yeah. I think it's interesting you brought up the point, too, about picking your battles.
Yeah. I mean, there's some cases. I feel like you have to have pretty thick skin to be in this industry. Sometimes, yeah. Which my skin has definitely become thick over the years. But yeah, I mean, some comments I'll just, you know, let fly over my head, and other things I'm like, okay, that's not okay to say, you know, just picking your battles and which person you need to correct in their attitude, I guess.
Yeah. Presentation is everything. How something is said makes a world of difference. You see in that.
Can you hear Cooper pretty loud? Oh my God. Let me tell my boyfriend to get him. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We can still hear you. It's fine.
Okay.
It's
Can you get him? Sorry. Yeah, you can hear it. Rachel said her dogs are getting all crazy because they can hear Cooper.
Right, of course. Patrick said, all welders talk shit about others' welds.
Depends. I don't know.
I feel like there's been, and tell me if it's the same on the welding side, I feel like there's certain behavior that's just been accepted throughout the years, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it should be that way. Yeah. And like, we can choose something different. Like, we can choose to change the way our industry looks. Like, we don't have to make fun of the newbies. We don't have to make fun of each other. We shouldn't have to have thick skin to be in this industry.
Right? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we do, but we shouldn't have to. Right? Yeah. I always have a kind of mixed feeling about that when I hear people say, like, well, if you don't have a thick skin, you just won't cut it in this industry, and you just won't make it, and you have to have a thick skin. I
hate that phrase. I know. Like, I hate telling people, like, oh, this is expected, you know, you're gonna get harassed, or you need to toughen up a little. But yeah, I hate it. Like, why can't I just be me in this industry?
Right. One day, maybe. I mean, we think about, like, how few women were involved when your grandmother was involved, right? And where we're at now, and just the change that's happened in my lifetime and your lifetime within our industries. I think it's coming. Somebody just said that they're helping their daughter start an all-girls garage. How cool is that?
Ooh, that's cool. How old is your daughter?
Yeah. That's kind of an important question. Missy Weld saying that most people in the weld community on Instagram are very welcoming to newbies. I agree. I agree.
I think so.
I feel like the welding community is more accepting than some of the other areas of the automotive industry. Because you've been in a couple of different areas of things. You've been on industrial, you've been in automotive, you've been in the campers, you've kind of been around the scene for a long time. Do you feel like different areas are more accepting than others?
Um, in the sense of like being a female
or even
oh,
just of being a newbie or just being,
maybe.
coming into
Yeah.
the industry, male or female, but particularly
Mhm.
female?
I feel like I've been pretty much welcomed in all industries. When I started off, it was in automotive. Um, so I don't know. I wasn't doing like some of the work the other guys were because I was new and still learning. But I feel like I've been pretty welcomed in the industry.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, this guy, the little sister aspect.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I made some big brothers at the shops that I've worked at.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Take you under their wing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think that's the important part is like finding the right people. Even if you're in your crappy shop, there's always,
Mhm.
or hopefully, there's always going to be at least like one person who's willing to treat you well and take you under their wing.
Mhm. Yeah.
What do you feel like have been your biggest challenges because of your gender or just in general, the industry? Like what's been the biggest challenge you've faced getting to where you're at?
I don't know. Biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. I don't know. I guess experience. Most shops they want to hire somebody with like 10 years experience. I'm like, okay, well, I need those experience, you know.
Right.
I've
How
been
am I supposed to
welding.
get experience if nobody will give me a
Yeah,
chance to get experience?
I know. It's like, okay, well, good luck with that. But yeah, I've been welding since 2014, so I have almost 6 years now, which crazy how fast time flies. I feel like I've done a lot
Yeah.
in the industry from, automotive restoration to manufacturing and structural now. So,
Yeah, you
yeah.
have done a ton. Yeah, I wish more shops and businesses would get over this idea of only hiring the super experienced person because
Yeah.
where do you learn
Yeah.
if
I
nobody
know,
will give
like,
you a shot?
absolutely. Like an experienced person can have bad habits, versus a rookie with no bad habits yet. They're willing to learn. I feel like
Yes.
someone who's new wants to learn and they're excited about this new profession. So,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, give them a chance, raise them up right.
Yeah.
They're wanting to
Sure.
learn. Unobtainium saying that training isn't a priority these days. And I think it's so true. And I think that's why
Mhm.
we're dealing with a shortage of welders and a shortage of
Yeah.
mechanics. And because we do have people interested and then they
Mhm.
get scared off because we're mean to them. We make fun of them and we don't give them opportunities to start
It's all
out
in,
in a job.
yeah, love and jokes. Just kidding.
Right? Like, how do we expect there to be more people in the industry if we won't train people, if we won't give them an
Yeah,
opportunity?
of course.
So,
Which I think is so important to like what you guys do, host classes, intro classes to things to get people interested. Because some people, it's a cool idea to do that, but then they realize like, oh shit, I can't have nails, or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, but I think having like intro classes in that sense to get people curious
try it.
about,
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So biggest challenge is experience. Interesting. Okay. What are you most proud of in this industry thus far in your career? What's your
Oh my
shining?
God. All of it, really. I mean, every shop that I've been at, I've picked up a new skill. I've met some awesome people through the years too. So I don't know. What I do in general is I'm very, very proud of what I do.
As you should be.
Yeah, especially branching out my skill sets too. So
Yeah.
hopefully to pass that down to somebody else someday.
Are you taking on apprentices in your jewelry making business?
I actually have one of our shadows, Zoe. I don't know if she's watching or not. She's coming over on Sunday. She wants to watch me make some jewelry to see
Nice.
how that metal works.
Yeah.
Because I work with like 22 gauge sterling silver. So that'll be fun to teach someone to do that.
Well, if you ever decide to teach a class, sign me
Yeah.
up, let me know. I
Okay,
would totally love to
definitely.
do that.
That'd be awesome.
I can totally imagine you said it was like your Zen, and I can totally imagine how that is like
Oh yeah,
a meditation.
it's so calming. Like, working in the hot heat in Arizona, like in your work gear, welding, it's tough. So when I get home, I could just make a piece of jewelry, whatever comes to mind. It's awesome. I love it.
So where can people find your jewelry? Where can people find you? If they want to order stuff, if they want to follow you, where do people find you?
Oh, say that again. We kind of broke
up.
Oh,
did we break up?
Yeah.
So if people want to buy your jewelry, where can they find it?
So right now I'm just selling through Instagram.
Okay.
Eventually I want to make a website, but how I make my collections is a little different. So like I will just make the tops of the jewelry and then give the customers options to turn it into like a necklace or a ring, or a cup. So they just order through Instagram. I don't know how to like type that into a website yet because it's a little confusing sometimes, but yeah, so I do a little different. You could purchase my jewelry. I have a little thing on my bio of available pieces.
Okay.
But because jewelry is not my full-time job, I do like small collections at a time, and they usually sell out, which is good.
Awesome.
So make sure you get in on that when I do launch my collections.
Awesome. Very cool. So the main place people can find you is on Instagram, yes?
Yes, only on Instagram.
Okay. And it is the name, Saguaro Blossom Jewels?
Yes, Saguaro Blossom Jewels.
All right. And I will have a link to it, obviously, in this IG live, which will live over in my IGTV. So if you like her jewelry, definitely go check her out. Check out all of the amazing stuff that she does.
Thank you.
So we don't have a whole heck of a lot of time left because Instagram kicks us off after a while. So
an hour. Yeah.
I know. Any final things you want to share with everybody? Final words of advice?
Somebody said, see you at the Get Down.
Yes. Oh, are you going to be at Dino's Get Down?
Yes, I will be at Dino's Get Down. Rachel and I are working the Switch suspension booth. So
nice.
Come say hi.
Yay. Very cool. Awesome.
I don't know. I think that's it. I don't know.
All right. So sounds good. Well, for anybody who doesn't already follow Letty, make sure that you do head over to Saguaro Blossom Jewels. Check out her work. Order some jewelry. Isn't it freaking gorgeous?
Thank you.
Show her some love. Also, I did actually want to say you and Rachel are doing the trades folks get-togethers. Are you doing more of those?
Yeah, we want to. We just had one yesterday. For a Tuesday work night, I say it was a pretty good turnout.
Nice.
With COVID happening, a lot of us weren't able to meet up. So we're trying to make these reoccurring.
Nice.
Probably have them at like different spots of the valley, maybe
awesome.
East side and West side. So
awesome.
We'll definitely be having more of those.
Very cool. Very cool. So a ton of stuff that Letty's got going on. So make sure you follow her, check her out, give her some love. If you're in the valley, come see us all at Dino's Get Down. And so with that, we will send everybody off. I will thank you very, very much for joining me. I need your address. So send me a message with your address so I can send you your happy hour gift.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Awesome.
And make sure you guys all tune in again next week for our next guest. So
yay. Thank you, Bogi. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I love you to pieces, and I can't wait to get to work with you again.
I know. Please let me know.
Yes.
I miss working on cars.
Absolutely.
I miss it.
We got a ton of welding to do, so.
All right.
All right. Awesome. Well, have a fantastic rest of your night, fantastic rest of your week. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Be safe. Be good to one another. We'll see you later.
Bye.